St. Mary's, PA. And they were coming through Grantsville, Maryland. So Alice and I drove over, spent an hour and a half, 2 hours with the kids. And then after we were done, I thought, you know, instead of going home the right way, I'm going to go up 219 and find a town where my dad was born, outside of Berlin, Pennsylvania. And we're coming up, and we're on 219, and all of a sudden, 219 turns into this 4-lane, looks like a turnpike. And I'm thinking, what the heck's it going around? And I look out, and there's a little town over there called Myersdale. They have this big thing around Myersdale. And I said, how can you go around Myersdale? There's nothing in Myersdale. How can you have such a road? And I thought, oh, I know why. You know whose district this was? John Murtha's. You have this beautiful road system. Or if you want another example, go over to Moorfield and go east from Moorfield on 55 on the corridor H. There's a gorgeous road. And you can enjoy it because there's not going to be anybody else there. We were on that once for 5 miles and there was no traffic. We were the only ones. I was afraid to break down. Okay? How do you get through Wheeling on Route 2? Your exits. Okay. The next one, I swear I don't know how I was able to get a job. Wheeling is no longer strategically located close to major markets. Hey, I'm sorry, we're not here anymore. Everybody's in Florida or California, Texas. Not here. And then let's go to this last one. Oh, this is damn here. It's called planning. Yeah. But I want you to notice who I've put in here. City, community leaders, and voters. Don't blame the city council, and don't blame the mayor, and don't blame the city manager for things that we did as residents. The first time Wheeling had a chance for a water filtration system, the voters voted no. They said, no, we don't want to spend that money on a water filtration system. Okay? I used to have this book called The Plan of Action for City of Wheeling, Ohio County, 1964. Nice big, I don't know, Dottie, I don't know whether you have it in your archives or not, but that's where all the planning is. We never followed any of it. We put the tunnel in 1966. The first suggestion of putting a tunnel through Wheeling Hill was 1916. 50 years later, we get around to it. We don't seem to be able. Well, let me give you another example. In the Great Depression, when there was a shortage of money, the federal government undertook some programs to try to put people back to work. PWA, the WPA, the CCC, the CWA, a whole host of them. So you go onto the campus of West Liberty, and you went into my old office building, Shotwell Hall. That was put up with PWA funds. The old original faculty housing was put up with New Deal funds. The landscaping on the campus was originally done by a New Deal organization. The physics lab was put up by the Civil Works Administration. Okay? Because Paul Alba knew the state of West Virginia didn't have any money, and he went where he could get it, and West Liberty got these things from. City of Wheeling. What did they ask for? They didn't. Two things. 2 fire department buildings. One of which now is a drive-through on Wheeling Island, and the other one is in South Wheeling with some club owns. We didn't ask for anything else. By the 1950s, the number of houses in Wheeling that were dilapidated or in bad shape. The downtown, in 1964, in that thing, they identified 100% of all the buildings in the downtown built before 1939. Okay? In North Wheeling, 99%. In East Wheeling, 97%. In Center Wheeling, 99%. South Wheeling, 98%. Wheeling Island, 96%. Somebody once told me, said, boy, isn't it nice that you people saved all these buildings in Wheeling? Yeah, we did, because there was no reason to rebuild anything. You take a look at the number of building permits, and you will see that they're not there. Why? Because the employment starts to change. For example, manufacturing employment starts to drop in the 30s, and then it starts to trickle. And then it gets worse. Okay? I have a little article here that it's called Hubris. It was written by a Wheeling attorney by the name of C.J. Kaiser. And one of the things that C.J. was talking about was the Fort Henry project, Fort Henry Mall project. And let me just read you a couple paragraphs. By 1961, the City of Wheeling and its Urban Renewal Authority made public the Fort Henry Mall project. For those of you who are not familiar with the Fort Henry Mall project, it was going to be centered up where the Center Market is. That's where the Civic Center was going to be. It talked about ramps between the buildings, water taxis, the whole. Actually, I have plans if anybody wants to see it. If you saw the brochures, it would tell you that the Fort Henry Mall was intended to encompass an area from Chaplin Street to the river from 10th to 11th. It would include parking for 3,000 cars, a civic center, a high-rise housing complex, and 550,000 square feet of new retail space, museum, and restaurant space. The three buildings that would remain would be Stone and Thomas, Holly Building, and Capitol Music Hall. Everything else in the area would be taken for development. Okay? City Council, Chamber of Commerce, the Wheeling, Ohio County Planning Commission endorsed the project. Then a group called the DWA, Downtown Wheeling Associates, said, no, we don't want that. Okay? And some of these were local merchants who lived outside, or businesses were outside of the area. Okay? During 1972, the merchants financed 2 lawsuits in a publicity campaign, and I will read you what CJ has written, of misinformation, scare tactics, personal attacks, and innuendo that resulted in the public's voting to eliminate the Urban Renewal Authority, and with it, the Fort Henry Mall project. The way this worked, the money was all going to come through urban renewal. So we became, remember how we were the first city to do away with the Carnegie Library? We were the first city to ever say we don't want urban renewal. Okay? Now, hubris. You know, those people who think that they know it all. That was 1972. 1977, there used to be a business up on the corner of Chaplin and 11th Street called Sears. Okay? And we now know that Sears